Hi there, Andre here from Peak Motorcycles, and I'm here at EICMA 2025, and I'm here at the Triumph stand. Now, I don't believe that Triumph have a press conference this week, so I don't think there's anything particularly new they're announcing, but they do have quite a few bikes on the stand, so I'll give you a quick look. There are a couple of new models as well that I haven't seen before, so I'll probably dwell on those for a little bit longer and zip past the others. Here we go. So I'm going to work my way around, so I'm going to start off in the adventure corner with the Tiger 1200, their big shaft drive adventure bike. You know, great for crossing continents, especially if there's two of you, and especially if you have quite a lot of luggage. Yeah, and a very, very tidy bike. I think that's the Explorer with all the extras fitted to it. Coming down to the next one, we have the Rally, the 900 Rally, in this sort of black and yellow colour scheme. As you can see, it's got the tubeless wheels. I think it's a 21-inch front. I think of all of them, this is actually probably my favourite. I rode it shortly after it came out. I know that was around the time that COVID first started, because we had a lockdown the week after. But yeah, it's evolved a bit over time. I mean, it's very capable as a sort of a big trailer, but still has nice things like you know, the heated seat. I think even for the rear, with nicely thought out things like the accessory socket. And while at the same time having some premium features like the quick shifter, it's got the performance exhaust. Even has a centre stand should you need it. Then we have the Tiger Sport 800, so it shares more I think with the 660 that I'll come to next, but it's got that 800 triple in, and yeah, just a very nice looking road bike. Here we have the Tiger 660. I really like the Trident 660. This is the same bike with a fairing. Again, I've ridden one, quite enjoyed it. Not really something I needed in my garage, but I think people that have them, especially as maybe a step between a first bike, for the first sort of serious bike you could do some miles on, I think the Tiger 660 does very well. Just coming up the second row, these are again Sports Tourer, Tiger Sport 800, and then we have the two road-going versions, the GT Pro of the Tiger 900 in that same black, white and yellow colour scheme. And then we also have the 1200 GT Pro. Now these are just a bit more road focused. They tend to have smaller front wheels, cast wheels as you see on this bike. And yeah, more for road only touring though. I'm sure you could take them anywhere. Right, here we have the Roadsters from the ridiculous but spectacular Rocket 3. They're in the Baja orange, the matte Baja orange and black. And here we have the Daytona 660, which is a bit of a step down from the 675 that was then superseded by the 765. But still, we don't get a lot of sort of new small super sports. And I think that one does very well in that sector. Here we have the Speed Triple RS 1200. It's a big 1200 triple. I love these. I used to have a 1050 Speed Triple 1050R. The 1200 is just the latest evolution of that. You can see it's got all the Öhlins bling all over it. And yeah, a really, really cool looking bike. We have the Street Triple, which is the slightly smaller engine. That's the 765. We have Trident 660, which was a bike that I loved. See, this has got a few extras on it, like the quick shifter. Yeah, I thought it would almost be too small, but when I actually rode it, I was genuinely impressed at just how capable it was and how big it actually felt. And the bike which I was most interested in seeing is this one, so I'll dwell a little bit longer. This is the new Triumph Trident 800. So, yeah, it's got the same sort of thing. I think they're sort of halfway between. I mean, they've resurrected the Trident name once again. Definitely not a super naked, but it's also definitely not an out-and-out classic like some other manufacturers are turning out. There's a few features here and there on it which make it look a little bit classic, a bit like what Honda did with the CB1000R Neo Cafe. Yeah, I think that is a really, really nice looking bike. If you don't want something that looks like a spaceship and you don't want an adventure tourer or a super sports with some comfort, I mean, if it's just an evolution and a bigger version of the 660, I think that is going to do really well. And here we have another Trident 800, another colourway. That's sort of like quite a flat grey with the black and the red. Here we have 1200 Speed Triple RX in the yellow and black. And then here we have their little TXP. They're battery powered. I suppose they're a bit like Scrambler. I know they're certainly derived from the electric trials bikes that they recently acquired. Yeah, and that is the TXP range, everything from small tots upwards. Coming down this side is the new Bonneville T120. I do love these. They really do the classic thing exceptionally well. They're not trying to make them look modern, but they're just making these old versions of the bikes better and better. And then here we have a Scrambler 900, which I guess is new for this year as well. This is the one I could just see from the other side. Again, super high spec with these Showa forks. You know, that lovely finished seat. That actually seat height looks pretty low, and for a bike of this style, they are few and far between. Now we have a lot of classics on this side. I'm probably not going to dwell on all of them, but I'll give you a quick look down. So here we have a T120 in the black. Here we have a Bobber in that rather nice black and sort of fleckled blue paint job. Here we have the Speedmaster Bonneville, again with that pretty, I guess that's the closest they get to a cruiser outside of the Rocket 3. Again, really super tidy, lots of features on it that hark back to Triumph's heritage without you know, becoming too modern, but at the same time it's not a bike you need to be continuously maintaining. We have the Speed Twin 1200. Here we have the Scrambler 400X in the nice orange. Again, you know, these bikes are made to a budget. They've got the Biber calipers instead of the Brembos, but still really nicely finished. I mean, I think these are made in India. You know, they're certainly at the more budget end of Triumph's range. And to compare that immediately with the 900, I mean, obviously it's much bigger, much faster, will do a lot more, but you know, you can certainly see the similarities, and you can see how people would go between them both directions. You know, maybe if they decide the 900 is a bit much and a bit heavy, they could always go down. And here we have the Triumph Scrambler 1200 XE, and I must admit, this is one of the bikes that is on my list to replace my GS. I know that might sound a little bit odd, but I do doing fewer and fewer big tours in the UK, and I really love the look of the 1200 XE. You know, it's the tallest one, it's the biggest one that they do in that sort of classic looks. A friend of mine has one, brought it to mine earlier this year, and I just think they look beautiful. They also have the 1200X, which is, yeah, the sort of slightly low spec version of the XE. And then we have the Scrambler 400 XC here in the yellow. So this is the more sort of off-roady, traily version of the 400, which, yeah, I kind of like. Last few, the Speed 400, which is the road version. You know, it's got the cast wheels, again, a little bit lower. Lovely bikes. You know, I think people who don't need big motorway cruisers have picked this. Here we have the Speed Twin 900. And then, yeah, one of the other bikes that I really love the look of, and it's the Speed Twin 1200. You know, you can see it's just got a few of the extra trick bits on it. It's really nicely finished. That sort of, if you want a classic bike that's got that sort of big twin feel, Olin suspension at the back. I mean, those tyres look kind of sporty for the roads around where I am, but nevertheless, a really nice looking bike. And then the last two, another T120 black, this time with sort of a slightly textured leather seat and a metallic sort of flat grey tank. And the last of the sort of more conventional bikes is a T100 in the black and the red. That's new for this year, but still looks, you know, old and fabulous. So the last thing I just want to show you here on the Triumph stand is them motocross bikes. So here we have the TF250X. Yeah, completely different to everything else really that they have here. It's unlikely that I'm probably going to get to try one. I think my motocross days are behind me, but yeah, I think those do look pretty cool, and it's nice to see Triumph doing something different. Maybe slightly more likely for me is the TS250E. This is their Enduro bike, which, yeah, again, looks pretty tidy. I would actually quite like to try one of these out, and I think that they might be available at the Triumph Experience place in Wales. So if I can find some free time to go and check one of those out, maybe that and the 450 would be something that'd be worth a look at. Last two. So here we have the 450 crosser, which again, you know, pretty cool. Unlikely to be something I'm going to be riding, but for those of you that are into motocross bikes, it might be kind of nice to see some of the detail on this Triumph up close without having to travel to find one. And the last bike that I want to show you from here on the Triumph stand is their 450 Enduro, which you can see here. So yeah, again, pretty similar to the 250 with a headlamp, and yeah, just really nice looking bikes. Hope I do get to try one at the Triumph Experience place in Wales. So there you have it, that is my coverage from the Triumph stand here at EICMA 2025. I hope that's been interesting and useful. If it has, please check out my other content from the show, and maybe I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.